Hello dear student, how are you all? I think everyone are fine there. So student, today we are going to begin with the new poem which is Throwing a Tree and it is section C. Of which unit? Tell me fast. Yes, it is of Nurture Nature. So student, about this poem we have already discussed its introductory part there in the class. Is it? Are you aware about this? Yes, it is being discussed there in the class, might be the last week. So student, so while discussing there about this poem in the class, what are the things we had discussed? Yes, we discussed about exploitation of the environment by us, by we human beings. We are exploiting the environment, we are exploiting the nature. Exploiting means here destroying. We are destroying the nature and we are bringing the whole Mother Earth for destruction. So, this is what we had discussed. And we also discussed what are the steps we should take forward to keep our Mother Earth, to keep our environment clean and green. Yes or no? And the steps what we had discussed? Yes, growing more and more number of saplings, even the plants, okay, to make our environment clean and green. So this is what help us to make our environment clean and green, and it will help our environment to grow and nurture alongside. So this is what after all we had discussed in the introductory part somewhere in the class. Yes or no student? Fine. So student, let's begin with the remaining poem, okay, and with the explanation of each and every single stanza of page number 110 and page number 111 of your textbook, which is named Communicate with Cambridge. So student, before going to the poem, I would like to show you one picture related to Throwing a Tree, which is written by Thomas Hardy. Yes student, you can see here how the tree was cutted and rooted down and the tree was fallen somewhere in the jungle. So who cutted it? Yes, we human beings. The tree cutter, a wood cutter, cutted this tree for the purpose of economical benefit. And why he is cutting the tree? To fill his stomach. How he will fill his stomach? By selling this tree in the market. And who is demanding this tree? We human beings demanding this tree for making the sofas, even for making the papers where we are writing. So after all, here when the demand is increased by the human beings, when they are not taking the proper use of the resources, they were wasting without any sense, then obviously the trees, the innocent trees which was standing in such a proud manner there in the forest, it was cutted by axe, it was cutted by woodcutter. So this is what we should take care. See student, what the innocent tree was fallen there in the forest, it is really a sympathy one. Okay, so we have to bring a empathy, okay, towards this cruel manner, towards this cruel activity of the human beings. So student, let's begin with the poem, what our poem says, and we are going to discuss about the poem, each and every stanza with its difficult word and the related meaning, and afterwards reading and reciting the whole poem by myself. What we will do, we were going to read the short summary of the whole poem, what the poem wants to speak. Then again after this video, then we are going to explain each and every stanza of the poem, okay, they are on the board. So student, so kindly watch this video thoroughly and carefully, and don't leave this video in between, because this video is going to be a very interesting, and this video is going to give a very morality lesson here after reading this and narrating this poem. So student, let's begin with the poem, what the poem speaks about. And the poem is here, Throwing a Tree, which is written by Thomas Hardy. So student, here is a poem, and the name of the poem is Throwing a Tree, written by Thomas Hardy. So student, I am narrating this poem. Here, I am reading this poem. So what you have to do and what's your duty? Yes, kindly open your textbook and come here on the page number 110 and page number 111. So here you will get the poem in your Cambridge textbook. So, as soon as you will open your textbook and I am reading here the poem, okay, I have a page, special page created by our English department. So, on the basis of that, we are going to read the poem. So, kindly pay attention there in your book, and I am reading each and every single line very thoroughly, and I will explain the meaning of each and every word. When I am explaining its meaning, so what's your duty? Here you have to hold a pencil, okay, and write the correct meaning of the words what is being explained by me. So student, let's begin with the poem. Throwing a Tree by Thomas Hardy. And the first stanza says here, the two executioners stalk along over the knolls. The two executioners stalk along over the knolls. Here the meaning of executioner means here the walkers, the woodcutters, they arrived inside the forest. Okay, and the meaning of knolls is small hills. They arrived somewhere in the small hills. Another line, bearing two axes with heavy heads shining and white. They were carrying axes which were shining and white. And a long limb, two-handled saw toothed for cutting great bowls. Okay, what is the meaning of this line? Yes, the third lines, the ending words, toothed for cutting great bowls. Bowls means here trunk. Do you know the trunk? Yes, it is a part of our body. Do you know the human being's body? Trunk. So it is also a part of our body. The human being body part, okay, the part which is below to our this back, and that particular part is called trunk. In the same manner, the tree have a body part. Here the tree is a non-living thing, but it grows day by day, day by day. It can be there in the process of respiration, yes or no. It inhale and exhale, then only it grows, and it also have a life. Okay, how could a person can cut the tree which gives us a oxygen? So here the trunk part of the body was cutted down by these two executioners. Okay, and the fourth line of the first stanza, and so they approach the proud tree that bears the death mark on its side. So student, see how the beautiful they have written. Thomas Hardy, a beautiful stanza. Okay, then goes to the next one. Okay, so the next stanza is here. I am reciting, even the narrating, so kindly listen it out. Jackets doffed, they swing axes and chop away just above ground. So the meaning of the doffed, it is given there in your textbook. So kindly pay attention and see out. Doffed means put up. Okay, what they did, they taken off, doffed. All right. Then, and the chips fly about and lie white on the moss and fallen leaves. Okay, even when they were cutting the small part of the woods, they start falling downside. Okay, and they start jumping from the trees. So this is what they have did. Now the third line, till a broad deep gash in the bark is heaven all the way round. Okay, here the meaning of heaven means, it is given there in your book. What it means? It means cut. They start cutting the tree. Then the fourth line, and one of them tries to hook upward a rope, which at last he achieves. Fine. So this is what. Then comes the third stanza. What it says? The saw then begins. The saw then begins till the top of the tall giant shivers. The shivers are seen to grow greater with each cut than before. What is the meaning of shivers? It means, shivers means here it is given there in the book. It means vibrations. It means, okay, glittering, or it means here shaking, so shivers. Here the whole tree starts shivering, it starts shaking because of the force what they are using on the tree while cutting it. Okay, the acts of the force making the tree to shiver. So here the tree is also some feelings, it also some have some pain also. See how the tree was cut it down very brutally. Fine. Then here then comes then another line. They edge out the saw, tug the rope, but the tree only quivers. Okay, the tree only quivers. And kneeling and sawing again, they step back to try pulling once more. Okay, so this is what here the third stanza speaks. They start trying to pull the tree downside and made the tree to broke into two pieces. Okay, the piece was made there on the bottom of the tree. Then comes the fourth one, the last one stanza of the poem. Here the fourth one speaks. Then, lastly, the living mast sways. Mast sways means pillar bent. So the pillar of the tree, even the backbone of the tree was bent very brutally by the force of these persons. Further sways with a shout, job, and ick rush aside. Then there is a job of a shouting. Here the meaning of ick. Ick is a name. Okay, rush aside. Read at the end of its long staying powers, the tree crashes downward. It shakes all its neighbors throughout. Here, some of the neighboring peoples who were residing nearby to that tree, these peoples became shocked because such a biggest tree was fallen down. Then, and 200 years, stead growth has been ended in less than 2 hours. Here, the 200 years it's taken to grow that tree very strongly and very perfectly, and they have killed that tree, broken that tree within a 2 hours. How brutal person they are, how a cruel person they have. Okay, what kind of cruelty they had? Yes or no, student? They had made one tree to die, and the tree was surviving from last 200 years. Understood, student? This is what a beautiful poem written by Thomas Hardy. Okay, it is written by Thomas Hardy very beautifully, and here he mentioned each and everything very sincerely, how they have cut it down the tree and what kind of problem the tree had to face. So here the poem ends, Throwing a Tree, which is written by Thomas Hardy. So student, I have narrated this poem here. Alright, and what's your duty? You also narrate the poem from the beginning till last as it is. Okay, how I have narrated in such a poetic manner, and send me your audio message there in the WhatsApp group. I am going to check it out. So student, what's your homework? Narrate the poem as it is and send me the audio message. So student, before ending this poem, let's begin the short summary of the whole poem, what the whole poem speaks about. Okay, so here I am giving the short summary, so kindly pause the video and write it down there in your notebook. Alright. So student, here you have the short summary of the poem, which is Throwing a Tree, written by Thomas Hardy. What this short summary speaks all about here. The poet Thomas Hardy describes how a large, strong tree which has lived for many years is cut down by two woodcutters, march into the forest like executioners who carry out a death sentence. Okay, and the meaning of executioner here is, an executioner is a person who carries out death sentences by hanging or shooting those who are condemned to die. So they were marching inside the forest to kill such a biggest ever tree there in the forest. Then student, what happened here? They went towards the tree which was marked earlier to be chopped off. They swing axes. The chips fly around and form a layer upon the mass and fallen leaves. Okay. Then what happened, students? Yes, when they begin to saw, the tree just shakes because it was a strong tree which has lived for many years. Then they tug a rope and pull the tree. The tree falls with a great shout and shakes all the neighboring areas. This shows the strength and enormity of the long lived tree. Strength and enormity means boldness, courageousness, and strength of that particular tree which lived for nearly student 200 years. You can't expect, and it was broken by the woodcutters within 2 hours. Also, the neighborhood trees feared that they would also meet with the same fate. Yes, now the neighboring were have a scaring. We will also have a same fate in the upcoming days. Today the tree was killed. Tomorrow we are going to killed by such kind of persons as per their increasing demand. Here, so student, this is how the short summary which is described by the English department about the throwing a tree. So student, the poem shows a deep feeling for a tree. Okay, what does it means? It shows a deep feeling for a tree and depicts it fully as an act of cruelty. Okay, it is an act of cruelty. So this is a short summary of this poem, Throwing a Tree. So student, kindly pause the video, write this short summary there in your notebook and have a notes of it. So take out it pics and send me there in the WhatsApp. I am going to check it out. So this is all about a short summary, Throwing a Tree. So student, you got 2 homeworks. One is reciting or narrating the poem as it is, how I have narrated with the proper pronunciation. Make your audio message from the beginning till last and send me there in the WhatsApp. And another homework is the write down the short summary of this picture. So you have to write it down in your notebook and even send me the pics. So student, this is all about the poem and the short summary of it, and in the upcoming videos you are going to learn about the poem very briefly with its each and every stanza's correct meaning. So student, it is all about the Throwing a Tree, which is written by Thomas Hardy, and it is a section C of Nurture Nature, which is a unit number, yes, which unit? Which is a unit number here 5. So student, let's begin with the further. So for the time being, take care and have a nice day. Watch this video thoroughly and carefully and have a proper notes. Okay student, have a nice day, take care, bye bye.